Hello everyone, I am Shivam Banka and I'll be going through this management case study interview. The purpose of this video is to give you an understanding of how a management case study interview goes. This video is divided into two parts. In the first part, I'll be going through the interview and present my understanding of it. And the second part, I will be analyzing the interview as a whole. For context, all the black text with blue background which you see is the statements of the interviewer, and all the blue text with white background which you see is the statement of the candidate. Today we are doing a case study interview where a client is a fishing company. Let's begin. A fishing company has faced decline in profits of 15% over the last year. The CEO has hired you to find out why this has happened. So, first statement by the interviewer is one of the most important statements in a case study interview because it tells you exactly the scope you have to focus on. So, we know from the statement it's a fishing company. It has decline of profits of over 15. It has decline of profit of 15% or last year, and the CEO has hired us to find the problem. Okay. A typical This is a profitability interview, and a typical profitability interview is divided into three parts. And the first part, you'll be trying to understand more of the client's business, competitor scenario, what is the situation in the industry. In the second part, we try to structure the situation and figure out where exactly the problem coming from. And then third part, we provide recommendations and solutions. So we're in the first part where we are trying to understand the client's business and industry as a whole. I would like to ask some preliminary preliminary questions to understand the situation better. What exactly does the company do and what geography does it operate in? Okay, it employs fishermen who uses the company's boats to go to the sea and catch fish. They sell the catch directly to customers in the town. The company is also in the business of leasing fishing boats. The company is based out of Goa. Okay. All right. I'd like to know whether the drop in the profits in industry-wide phenomenon is an industry-wide phenomenon or is it just limited to our company? The decline in the profit is unique to our clients. Does the client have multiple product lines within seafood or do they just sell fish? They only sell two types of fish, large and small. Do these products differ based on price, cost per unit, and margins? The small fish are considered premium and sell at 1.25x of the price of the big fish. However, it costs the same to catch those fishes. Okay, That's interesting. That's actually interesting. Small fishes are selling at a higher price. Okay, that's interesting. So let me know. Try now. Okay, let me now try and identify the cause for the drop in profitability. Since profitability is a function of revenue and cost, I would like to analyze the two, starting with the cost component. What has been the trend over the last year? So now we are moving on to the second part of the interview where we are analyzing the situation and trying to structure it to figure out where exactly is the problem coming from. And for that reason, we have divided profitability as a function of revenue and cost, and we'll be looking into it. Uh, it's a good practice to ask the interviewer where should you start with focusing on, rather than assuming that you should start with the cost as well, because the interviewer is there to help you out. So if the problem is coming from revenue, he will tell you the focus start with revenue and not with cost. So it's a very good practice so that you don't waste your energy in analyzing things where there is no issue. But let's see how it goes. Our costs have actually gone down by 5%, so that is a good thing. If the problem is there with costs. Oh, so the problem is not there with costs because the costs have gone down 5%. Okay, that's interesting. What about the revenue? Our revenue for the last financial year was down 12% year on year. Okay. All right. So the revenue component is driving profitability down. I guess so. Oh, so what do you suggest? Okay, so in a typical fishing company, the major heads of revenue would be fish sales and leash of fishing vessels and equipment. Do you have any data with respect to these? Yes, we do. Our lease income has indeed fallen from the previous year on account of loss of few customers, but leasing only contributes to about 15% of our total revenue. So that the so there is mu- so there must be something else too. So a fall in revenue from fish sales must be driven by one of these three factors: fall in average selling price, dip in volume, or change in the product mix. Do we have any okay, fall in revenue and then change in the product mix? Do we have any indication about which of these could be it? Yes, that's indeed correct. So there has been a change in the product mix that we offer. We have found out that we are selling more large fish than fewer small fishes than we used to in the last year. Can you help the company understand why this could be the case? The problem of product mix could either be a demand side issue or a supply side issue. Demand side issue affect the whole industry, and since that is not the case, uh, it is my hypothesis that the problem is one of the two. We are unable to catch small fish and are unable to sell them. Do we know which of these it could be? Our catch of small fish has indeed fallen last year. What could be the possible reasons for it? So the problem could be either external or internal. There has there been any changes in the composition of the water body where our fishermen fish? Is it possible that there are fewer fishes available? No, there has been no change in composition of the sea. The proportion of small fish available is still the same. Okay, then it seems to me that there is some issue with the process of catching and transporting fish. Has there been any significant change in the process over the last year? This could be any of the following: any change in logistic arrangement, change in fishermen, uh, trawlers, or fishing nets, or even change in the area of fishing, example, distance from the shore. Actually, yes, there has been. Last year, we went on a cost-cutting drive. We wanted to reduce our expenditure on fishing nets, so we tied up with a company providing cheap recycled nets. However, these nets came with a square mesh instead of a diamond mesh, and fishermen traditionally use. It was found that while the gaps in the diamond-shaped nets compressed when it came in contact with water, the square-shaped nest retained its shape under water and allowed a lot of small fish to escape through the gap in the nets. That is some really interesting information. Thank you for your analysis. You did a good job. We didn't have the third part of the interview where we provide recommendation solutions because it's pretty straightforward that switch your fishing net back to a diamond shaped fishing nets. But it was quite well done. The candidate was able to come up with a lot of exhaustive options of every question asked by the interviewer. Also, the candidate was able to structure the problem very well rather than coming directly to the answer. He was able to structure the situation exhaustively and then go on from there to figure out what the problem is. So it was a pretty well done interview, and we will be moving to the second part of the interview where I'll be analyzing the interview as a whole. In a management case study interview, it's very important that you maintain very clear notes because sometimes at the end of the interview, the interviewer might ask for your notes and he should be able to understand everything in one glance. So interview notes. There could be there could be two problems. Either client is not able to capture fish or unable to sell them. No change in consumer preference, no change in sea composition. Look for change in process of catching fish. Case facts. Company based out of Goa, fishermen sell directly to customers, profits down by 15% over year, costs have gone down, and so has revenue. Decline limited to client, not in the industry. Two product lines, big and small fish. Now let's see how the problem was structured, which the candidate actually did a pretty good job. The profits were divided to revenue and cost. Cost was actually going down, so it was not an issue. The revenue were going down, and that's why we dived deep into it. Revenue was divided into price, volume, and the product mix. Product mix is something which sometimes people miss a lot, but you have to make sure that you just don't consider price and volume because that is a mathematical calculation of revenue, but you also think of product mix because that is also what defines the revenue in this situation. So, product mix is divided into either supply side or demand side. There was no issue with the demand side, but on the supply side, since fishermen was able to catch less fish, And in the supply side, it's divided into fishermen, equipment, and area of fishing. And the problem was with the equipment since the net have been changed to the square-shaped ones, which were in which the small fish were able to escape from. What were the observation and suggestions of the interview? It is important to ask preliminary questions to understand the company and its industry, which the candidate did. The key insight, different product lines and different margins for each was derived from the preliminary questions. Exactly. So in the starting questions where the product mix was identified, the solutions was based on that information only. So if that information was not available, coming to solution might have been very difficult. It was important to note that changes in sales of product was not linked with change in customer preference. The problem can only be on the supply side as well. So it is useful to analyze the entire value chain to understand where the problem lies. That's also a fair call. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this case study interview. And if you have a case study interview coming up, all the best. And if you're looking to build a career in consulting, do subscribe to the channel because I will be uploading one video every day. And it's a very good mindset to watch one case study interview to understand how to navigate different industries uh, so that you don't have trouble cracking any case study interview thrown at you. So with that thought, I'd like to wish you have a pleasant day and thank you for watching.